In part one of obtaining Amazon credentials, we covered create an AWS account, create an IAM user, create an IAM policy, create an IAM role, and add an AWS security token service policy to your IAM user. In this video, we are going to be covering part two of obtaining Amazon credentials. Now let's go over steps for registering your application. For the first step, you're going to sign into Seller Central using the credentials that you use to register as a developer. Now that you're signed in the Partner Network menu, click Develop Apps. The Developer Central page appears. Now you're going to click Add New App Client. The app registration page appears. Complete the form. Here's a quick note. If you are registering a public application, a seller's checkbox and a vendor's checkbox appear after you choose the API type. Select sellers, vendors, or both, depending on the type of seller partner your application is for. The list of roles for which you can apply vary depending on your selection. For the next section, you're going to sign into Vendor Central with the credentials that you use to register as a developer. Remember, this is only for private vendor applications. In the integration menu, click API Integration. The Developer Central page appears. Click Add New App Client. The app registration page will appear. Then you're going to complete the form. Here's an important note. When registering your application, the IAM ARN that you provide must be for the IAM entity to which you attach the AIM policy from Create an IAM policy. Steps in the previous video. In this workflow, that AIM entity is the AIM role from creating an AIM role, which was covered in the previous video. If you register your application using your IAM user, be sure that the IAM policy is attached to it. Otherwise, your calls to the selling partner API will fail. We recommend registering your application using an IAM role as shown in this workflow to help you better control access to your AWS resources. Now, the next section that we're going to cover in this video will be viewing your application information and credentials. To view your application information and credentials, for private seller applications and for public applications for any type of selling partner. You're going to sign into Seller Central using the credentials that you use to register as a developer. In the Partner Network menu, click Develop Apps. The Developer Central page will appear, displaying information about your application, including the IAM ARN associated with them. Click View under LWA Credentials for the application you want. Your LWA client identifier and client secret for that application appear. You will need this credential to request an LWA access token. To view your application information and credentials for private vendor applications, sign into Vendor Central with the credentials that you use when registering as a developer. In the integration menu, click API integration. The Developer Central page will appear with information including the IAM ARN associated with them. Click View under LWA credentials for the application you want. Your LWA client identifier and client secret for that application will appear. You will need these credentials to request an LWA access token. Complete this process according to Amazon's direction. If you're needing more information on how to complete these steps, view the CSM Amazon Order Management documentation.